high-octane episode. Folks, we're about to get into the meat and potatoes. First team we're going to take and cover here today is going to be the Seattle Seahawks, then moving on to the Arizona Cardinals. We got the 49ers, and then, of course, Super Bowl champions who also came from this division, the Los Angeles Rams. We're going to highlight a couple different things today. We're going to cover everything. So just brief highlights of free agency, NFL draft, and other trades and crazy stuff that's went on. And then each one of us is going to spend a moment or two talking about what our predictions are for that team and why we chose what we chose. Sue, go ahead and kick it off, man.
Man, the Seattle Seahawks, man, it is not a good year to be a Seahawk fan, let me tell you that, because arguably the two best pieces of your team don't play for your team anymore. You got one of them in Denver, and you got the other asset down the road in LA. So I don't know if and Drew Lock is your quarterback. Now we do have what I'm going to assume now is a former Drew Lock stan, Drew Lock evangelist on the show. But seeing as that's not his problem anymore, I don't think he's out here singing his praises anymore. Between that and Geno Smith quarterbacking, man, I just don't got a lot of faith in what these guys can do this season, especially since they are, the NFC West this year, they are playing the new AFC West, which I'm going to crown them the toughest division in football. It just passes from the NFC West to the AFC West, that crown. And rightfully so, just based off of what those rosters look like, man. So going against, those four stacked teams in that division, not to mention competing against the NFC West, which still, features some good teams, some good competition. They've got a tough schedule. I was just looking at some notable matchups here that they're going to be playing kind of outside of conference, right? Like they'll be playing Tampa. They'll be playing the New Orleans Saints as well. I think it's just going to be a tough road. And, that Week 17 matchup against the Jets, I know a lot of Seahawks fans probably have that circled as a W. I don't think so, man. I really like what the Jets did this offseason. I really like the pieces that they added. I think Robert Saleh in year 2, Zach Wilson in year 2 with more weapons in the run game, more weapons in the pass game. Sauce Gardner, right? Sauce Gardner, a couple additions on the pass rush. Quinnen Williams, Jonathan Franklin Myers still rounding out to be a beast. I mean, that roster looks poised to make some legitimate noise this year. So Seahawk fans, yes, it's part of it is I don't like you, but the other part is I don't believe in your roster, and neither should you. I got you guys going 4-13 this season.
Ooh, okay. Mike, do you feel the same way? You gonna bring the smoke as well? Or are you more gracious, man? Talk to me.
Yeah, man, I do. My faith in the Seahawks comes in the fact that they got Pete Carroll as their coach, and he's done a lot. Soup called me a Drew Lock stan. I think he has talent. I just don't think he's been with a coach that is offensively gifted. I thought a trade would be good for him, just not to the Seahawks, because they have the same problem that we had in the fact that they don't have a great offensive coordinator. And it's going to be the worst line he's ever played with since he's been in the NFL. And it'll be the best offensive line that Russell Wilson's played with since he's been in the NFL with more weapons now. DK, Ty Lockett, Noah Fant, they're monsters. They have a really good running back room with Kenneth Walker and Penny. So the Seahawks, I feel like, are going to surprise some teams. But with that being said, they will be vying for one of those top 3 picks, and they'll probably draft another quarterback next year instead of drafting somebody on the offensive line, which they should have been doing for the last forever. They keep saying the quarterback's the problem. Like, Russ wasn't your problem. Your problem was Russ was on his back. Saying all that to say, I believe the Seahawks will do better than what Soup said, but only by 1 game. So I'll give them 5-12 is how I think their season will go.
Okay. I'm right in that ballpark, man. I'm going to give them 6 wins just because I think there'll be a few games that probably catch a few teams off guard. They'll probably catch the 49ers off guard. I don't think they'll catch the Rams off guard, man. Maybe even sneak one against the Cardinals. I'll say this. They had I like their draft. I like what they did in the draft. I mean, Kenneth Walker, 3rd. I mean, are we talking NFL Rookie of the Year? I mean, that's a nice pickup right there, man. I mean, but we'll see what takes and happens, man. I got him at 6 wins tops, no lower than 4 wins, but it should be really, really interesting, man. But that's where I got him at. It's an adjustment year. You lost your franchise, Mike. You hit the nail right on the head, man. Russell was on his back. You know what I mean? They kept relying on Russell, and Russell's gonna be out here like Cam Newton. Getting what his first name was. You keep knocking him around like that. So, You got to protect your quarterback, man. This is the National Football League. So 6 wins is what I got him at, and we'll go ahead and we'll leave it there. Next team we're going to take and talk about is going to be the Arizona Cardinals. They got some upgrades at the wide receiver position. Christian Kirk, they had a team that overpaid for him, and the Jaguars. Can't forget about that one. I'll start off with you, Mike. What do you think about the Arizona Cardinals, and what's your prediction?
Yeah, can y'all hear this mariachi band in my background, Doug?
No, I can't hear it.
Not really, but I'm glad that you got some ambiance over there.
Yeah, that's like anyway, that's the most funny thing that happened to me in my entire life. Like, we're starting a podcast and a random mariachi bands outside. I think the Cardinals this year are going to go 7-10, man. I think the early part of their struggle, I think they could be closer to 500, maybe a 10-win team if D-Hop wasn't gone for those 8 games. But the fact that he's going to be gone for those 8 games, and they have a pretty tough schedule this year, so I feel like that's going to hurt them in games. I think it'll also force Kyler Murray to have to spread the ball around a little bit more and not just say, D-Hop, here you go, and throw the ball up. And I'll be interested to see what kind of offense they run while D-Hop is gone. I think it could be something that sets them up phenomenally well long-term, as opposed to just scramble around, throw the ball to D-Hop. I think it's going to kind of force him to go through his progressions a little bit more, and maybe force him to put an offense together. But with all that being said, I think they'll go 7-9 in that tough division. They'll be a competitive 7-10. Thank you, Sue. I wrote 7-10 down here still. They'll go 7-10. They're going to surprise some teams. Kyler's a beast. He just got his money. I think he'll be happy, come back rejuvenated. And I think when D-Hop comes back, he's going to be on an absolute revenge tour. I still think he'll go over 1,000 yards in his 10 games he plays. But I think missing arguably the best receiver in the NFL for 8 games is going to hurt them significantly in a competitive part of their schedule. But they're going to be a team that certain teams don't want to play. They're going to upset a few teams, but they're still not going to make the playoffs.
Okay, gotcha. Soup, what you got, man?
Man, me and Mike are in lockstep for once, man. I have the Cardinals sitting at 7-10 as well, and here's why. J.J. Watt's returning for however many games he plays this season. Don't worry, he won't make it the entire season. Kyler Murray going to get hurt towards the back end of the season. He always does. Now, when I say get hurt, I don't mean he's not going to be available. He's always available, but his body just doesn't hold up because the Arizona Cardinals offensive game plan continues to be Kyler run around until somebody gets open downfield. Now, in that case, right, it was DeAndre Hopkins. Now they're just replacing him with Hollywood Brown for those first set of games that D-Hop is going to miss. But make no mistake, the offensive philosophy is still the same. The difference is D-Hop has much better hands than Hollywood Brown. I know everybody wants to keep perpetuating this narrative that Lamar Jackson is the problem in Baltimore, but I saw last year and I watched him put some good balls in Hollywood Brown's hands. And if you're a receiver, especially if you're supposed to be a number 1 option, you got to come down with those things, dog. And Hollywood Brown was letting Lamar Jackson down and the Ravens down a lot last season. Now I understand that there's some chemistry, right? Him and Kyler go back to their days at Oklahoma. So I don't think there's going to be any kind of, problem getting in lockstep. AJ Green is going to, make another effort this year. I think he put up better numbers than what anybody thought he was going to do last season. It kind of rejuvenated his career, if you will. Defensively, I'm still trying to figure out what this team is doing, right? They got rid of Chandler Jones is no longer there. Chandler Jones is now in the AFC West. He's with the Raiders. So that's for a team that's now almost solely relying on J.J. Watt to create that pressure, right? I know they have some rookies like Isaiah Simmons. Well, he's not a rookie anymore, right? But they have some other young players that they are counting on to draft that to generate some of that pass rush. And we haven't seen that as of late, right? Buda Baker's going to be who he is. But at the end of the day, right, talking about Kyler Murray's contract, they put out an interesting footnote. I don't know if you caught this, Doug, Mike, during the day about his contract, but there is an actual clause in his contract that forces him to study the game plan for an extra 4 hours a week. I've never heard of this. Also, I don't know why you make this public knowledge, because in my opinion, if I have to put an actual clause in your contract saying you're going to study more, that's not me saying, oh, we're going to have the most dedicated quarterback in the league. That's me saying there's obviously a commitment issue that we're worried about, that you're not really studying like you need to be. And that if we're going to give you this kind of money, we want some kind of insurance that you are going to be a little bit more committed and a little bit more focused on what your actual job is. That's a problem to me. I shouldn't be handing you hundreds of millions of dollars and worry about if you care enough to prepare. I don't know why they let that go public as like it was a flex or something. I think it backfired. Like I said, I got them at 7-10, man. I'm missing the playoffs.
Yeah, man. I want to go high. I want to give him playoffs. It's so bad. I like the Keontae Ingram pickup in the draft. I like that. I like Hollywood Browns over there. It's good. Good pickup. I like that. JJ Watt play a real hard fought 5 games. He don't go in. Got him at 8 wins tops, man. I can't go above that. I love Rondale Moore, man. My guy Rondale, man. I've interviewed you, man. Obviously, I'd be a fan of wherever you go, but I'm more of a fan of you than that team. I'm not crazy about your coach and his play calling. It's just I don't know, man. I think your agent is a finesse king. It's finesse king, man. They're giving you way too much, man. And I think that, and again, I'm not attacking him as a person, man. It's people who question leadership. I think that's all malarkey. That's all BS that is trying to go out the media. I think he's a very talented QB. A question is O-line. A question the backfield. His receivers are. I think Rondale Moore is going to be receiver number 1 until your receiver 1 comes back after those 8 games. But yeah, I got him at 8 wins tops, man. That's where I got him.
Rondale going to be receiver number 3, and he has to be, because if you on a roster with Hollywood Brown, who I assume you're bringing him in to be the 1 while D-Hop is out, and he'll transition to 2 once D-Hop is back in,
and
or he'll be a 3. And then AJ Green, you need him to be your 2. Rondale has to be the 3. So I could see Hollywood moving down into Rondale's position when D-Hop comes back, or possibly AJ Green getting more breaths on the sideline.
I think AJ Green will be on the sideline, man, because he's getting towards the tail end of his career. I still think he can go make plays, especially in the red zone. I think they'll use him a good amount in the red zone, especially while D-Hop's out, because Sky Moore's not jumping over anybody. AJ Brown is a dog, and he makes stuff happen. He's just one of those players that comes down with the ball. But I think he'll be in that number 3 range. I think they could use him as a weapon all over the place if they had a good play caller.
Kyler going to be doing a lot of meditating on the couch.
I love it. Now, man, it's when he came into the league, man, it's like he's the next generation quarterback. Adrian, you said it a couple episodes ago. They do dream selling, man, and amazing QB. He has a strong arm. I love his speed. It's just, man.
Look, I don't want to disparage like Kyler, because I ain't got no personal beef with him, right? He just happens to play for a rival team. Mm-hmm. He just like I don't have any personal beef. I don't know the kid to say one thing or the other. I'm concerned that we're crowning these guys early and they haven't achieved anything. And it's not just him, right? There's a number of quarterbacks that are getting crowned early, but I was like, you guys haven't done anything.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And I think his contract situation, right? Kudos to his agent putting that Bible out of a letter demanding that they pay him and saying that Kyler wants to be there. But I think the Arizona Cardinals, the reason why they paid him is because they were between a rock and a hard place. They know what they are without Kyler.
Yeah.
But I also think in the back of their mind, they can say whatever they want to publicly, that, oh, he's our guy. He's the guy that's going to get us over the hump. He's the guy that's going to get us to the promised land. I think deep down in their hearts, they know that he's not that guy. Yeah. He'll keep them relevant and he'll put butts in the seats, but he's not that guy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. False prophet. All right, next team we're going to take and move on to is going to be the San Francisco 49ers, and Trey Lance is going to be the starting quarterback. Had a good draft, good free agency. Soup, I'm going to go ahead and kick it off with you, man. Where are you ranking the 49ers at?
Well, I'm going to continue to give respect to this 49ers team. I hate them. I can't stand them. Personally, I hope that they lose every single game. I just know that's not going to happen. I'm not believing the BS that they're putting out to the media and to the public about Trey Lance and how, he's exactly what they thought he was going to be. I think that there's still a lot of skepticism in that building about him. But I think, you got to put your best foot forward for the public face, because you got to get these fans excited about what the next generation of quarterback is. And I think, right, the front office has to sell the rest of the team on it and say, hey, this is the guy. Like, we're confident we're going to be moving forward. But, for all of his physical attributes and for as high as his ceiling is, not enough is spoken about how many football games this kid has actually played from college all the way to here. Like, he has under 200 starts. You understand that, right? Like he started next to nothing in college. And that's not, I'm not saying he doesn't have the physical gifts and the talent. I'm just saying, where's his actual experience on a football field? It's very, very, very limited. And then to be thrust into the spotlight in the pros last year, right? And what was the most competitive division. And then in your sophomore season, you're going to now play the most competitive division. Like,
it's a big jump.
The expectations for this kid are through the roof. I still maintain that he's not as good as they think he is, because if I had an injured quarterback with injuries to his throwing shoulder and his throwing hand, and I have a chance to go to the Super Bowl on the line, why would I play that quarterback over what's supposed to be the future? And everybody keeps saying, well, Jimmy G's been there before. I was like, well, the last time that the 49ers found themselves in that predicament, it was with a young Alex Smith and Colin Kaepernick, and they flipped the switch, and Colin Kaepernick got him to the game. Didn't pull it off, lost to the bigger Harbaugh, but got him to the game. So why don't y'all have at least that much faith in your next generation quarterback? But like I said, they could prove me wrong. Until the Rams prove otherwise, right? In the regular season, Kyle Shanahan still continues to have Sean McVay's number. And let me tell you that I'll be the first Rams fan to tell you, they can sweep us again this season. As long as we beat them in the playoffs, I do not care. Y'all can have all the regular season wins that you want. But all the trash and stuff aside, right? It's a very competitive schedule. This is a very good team. They have star players all over, right? Nick Bosa, he's going to be healthier this season. Fred Warner, I still contend is the top interior linebacker in football. I don't know what they're doing with their DBs, right? They drafted some young guys. We got to see how those guys perform. If nothing else, that they got a room full of running backs that you don't know their name yet, but you will by the time the season comes. And at least two of them are going to go off for 3 or 4 weeks in fantasy, and you're going to be mad that you missed out on those guys. And then once you put them on your team, they won't produce nothing else. But, and then what's happening with Debo, right? Debo, as far as we know, hasn't rescinded his trade request. I don't know if he's actively talking. I don't think they started training camp, so we don't know if he's actually showed up or not. But, that's a big question mark. Because without Debo there, who's your receiver? Brandon Jennings? So I have questions. They got Trent Williams under contract. That's a big deal for them to protect this new quarterback. It's going to go a long way with the run game and the pass protection. So, like I said, at the end of the day, I'm not excited about their roster, but I believe in their front office. I believe in their coaching staff. They started off rough last season too. I think all of us said that they weren't going to make the playoffs based off of how they were trending through the first 5 weeks. And then look what happened. They ended up in the NFC Championship game. I think they could be in for another one of those seasons this year. So I've got them going 10-7.
Oh, okay. Love it. Love it. Mike, where you got him at?
I feel like he's copying my notes, but I know he's not. It just makes sense. I got them going 10-7 also. Yeah, man. And I got them going 10-7 also. And the reason that is because Kyle Shanahan has done nothing to dissuade me from believing that he can coach. He's a phenomenal coach, right? John Lynch has done nothing to dissuade me from the fact that he can draft, right? So saying that to say, I think that Brandon Ayuk can step up. I think he's shown flashes. I think this season he can put together some consistency. I think Debo will be back. It's about him not getting from everything we've heard, it's been about him not getting paid what he should get paid for him taking those running back hits and being a receiver. So I think they'll figure out a way, add an extra $1 million or whatever for him to take some more hits and use him as a weapon. They still got George Kittle. I think Trey Lance has all the tools to be successful, and they have a solid line, solid running back room, and solid defense, right? So, again, this division is arguably the second or third best division because there's some really tight divisions this year in football. So there's going to be some attrition, but I still have them going 10-7.
Okay, nice. I got them making the wild card. I got them at 11 wins. You guys both bring up beautiful points, man. And this is assuming that Trey Lance plays either at a Jimmy Garoppolo level of talent or better. Now, they're both two different style quarterbacks. You know that, right? We know that he's going to chuck it downfield, whereas Jimmy G, he's a kind of a low turnover quarterback. Doesn't get it down the field that much, but he knows. I would kind of equate him to Tua last year, kind of thing, right? Except maybe a more polished version, right? But I like Jimmy G. Obviously, he's going to be testing the free agency, so we know there's a huge chance he's not going to be there. He could be the Seattle Seahawks, could head to, I don't think he'd go to Miami, but there's a few different clubs that would take a Jimmy G. They got Brandon Ayuk. I hope Deebo Samuel will be back, right? Because you want to. He take over to another team. It's not gonna be the same thing. He wants to be a receiver, but he's known for being a running back / receiver, right? But hopefully this team can take and pay him, man, because again he's taking a lot of licks.
No, I hope he goes out of my division.
Yeah,
I hope he goes out of my division and doesn't go to the AFC West. Send him somewhere else.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I'm huge. That's just. I don't know. Again, that's my big question mark. I got a big question mark over Trey Lance, but I think this team's gonna pull it together because they know how to develop talent. They know how to keep the stuff together. It's very rare that they have something blow up and go over to the media. And then Mike, you and I a couple months ago, man, we interviewed Mr. Danny Gray. That's a big addition, man. Deep threat receiver. So, but 11 wins. That's where I got him at. I think it'll be scrappy. I don't see them getting no less than 10 wins though. So I think we're all about that same ballpark. So
hey, bold prediction. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo leaves the 49ers this season because they gave him permission to seek a trade. I don't think anybody takes that right now because nobody needs it. So unless somebody gets hurt in the preseason or camp, I don't see that trade happening. I see him being on the roster for in case Trey Lance gets banged up.
I think somebody's going to get hurt and he'll get traded, and then he'll get hurt, and then.
Well, I think it's a race to see who gets hurt first. Does Trey get hurt or somebody outside?
I don't think Trey Lance will get hurt, man. Don't wish that on that, man.
I'm not wishing it on nothing. I'm just saying, like, he got to play this guy right here. So I'm just, what he should do? He should call your boy Russ, ask him about him, see what he got to say.
Yeah. Oh man. And then as y'all see, I changed the templates on the outskirts of the screen to blue because we about to get to the champions. As you see in the top corner of the screen, House of Rain over there, my boy Adrian. He's a diehard Rams fan, so we don't give our predictions. I'm gonna kick this one off here, man. Rams, wow. I mean, you did it. You did it, man. You brought over a quarterback. You built the team, and on top of that, you spent the money and you did it wisely. You have a lot of other copycat teams like the Miami Dolphins are trying to kind of mimic what, mimic what is going on over there in LA. But I'm going to say this, man. I got y'all winning the division at 12 wins. I think it's going to be another year. I think out of all the teams, since there has been a team win back-to-back Super Bowls, you guys are going to be the next team to do it. It's been a long time, and the NFL's become that much more of a competitive and dangerous place, and the competition keeps getting more and more. That's why it's very hard to go back-to-back. But it's a division like the NFC, which is actually going to be pretty good this year, I think. But you guys are at the top of the list, not the Buccaneers, not the Saints, not some of these other ball clubs, not even the Eagles. I got y'all 12 wins. So what you got, man?
Oh man, I'm gonna be in lockstep with you, bro. I really wanted to push us to 13 wins this season, but like I said, I gotta respect the 49ers. 13 wins if we could split with the 49ers, but 12 if we don't. So I'm gonna officially go 12-5, which is the record that we held last year. I said this. We got the number one strength of schedule, at least on paper, right? Because it's only number one strength of schedule until we find out how all these teams actually play in real life. But that being said, there's not. I don't think there's really a bad game on this schedule for them this year. You're going to be facing some very, very stiff competition starting week 1, right? Like Buffalo, they're coming to your house. Von Miller, he was just out in LA collecting his second ring. He'll be back, in a few months to see if he can walk out of there with a W or help Josh Allen with that. And I mean, we're getting everybody's best shot, right? Reigning Super Bowl champions, you're definitely going to get everybody's best shot. So, we've got Buffalo on the schedule. We got Dallas on the schedule. Continue to have, I think, Green Bay. Yeah, Green Bay's on the schedule again. So, and once again, we're going to be in Lambeau again in the winter. I think we're in December. We're going to be in Lambeau. Nobody wants to be at Lambeau. Even the Packers don't want to be in Lambeau in December. So, like I said, it's a tough game. It's a tough schedule without being the reigning Super Bowl champs, but because we are the reigning Super Bowl champs, it's going to be that much tougher. We're definitely going to get everybody's best shot. Everybody wants to knock you off that hill. They want to dethrone you real quick. We did have some departures this season, and I know everybody's like, "Oh, the Rams aren't going to be sane because they lost, key personnel. What are they going to do without Vaughn?" And give credit to Vaughn, right? Like, I would have loved to see him back in a Rams jersey. There's several fan bases who are glad that he's gone. But Bobby Wagner ain't a bad consolation prize. And yes, they do different things, but putting him right next to Ernest Jones, who flashed big time last year as a rookie, I think can only spell good things for his future. Our core is intact. Cooper Kupp coming off of that season that he came off of, Super Bowl MVP. Matt Stafford's second year at his office. Stafford himself has said, I didn't understand the offense even in the Super Bowl, and I understand so much more of it now, right? I think us getting Liam Cohen back from the college game is going to dramatically change that offensive playbook. We're going to add a few different wrinkles in there. The addition of Allen Robinson, I think that's an understated signing. I know it's weird. I've seen a lot of energy on the internet talking about, his best days are behind him. But I think his best days are right in front of him, especially considering the caliber of quarterback that he now has. He's going to add an element to this Rams offense that we haven't seen in a long time, which is, the deep jump ball, the deep 50-50 ball. Allen Robinson's that, but we also know he can get busy in the red zone. We know he gets busy in the slot. We know as a possession receiver, he's got some of the coldest hands in the game. And then, the factor that a lot of people aren't talking about, or they just don't want to admit to themselves, there's a solid chance that OBJ is back with this team as early as October, as late as November, right? There's a good chance that he gets re-signed by the Rams. There's also a chance he goes somewhere else. But even without that, I'm comfortable in that receiving room. The biggest thing that we did all offseason was make sure that this guy, number 99, stayed away from retirement. I'll take him for as long as I can get him, man. He's the best player in football until he's not.
Yeah. Until
somebody demonstrates that they're better than him, he's the best player in football. Not the best defensive player. He's the best player in football. He's number one. Until he's not, I think he got that ring, but I think he's addicted to it, right? That first taste, that first hit. Now he wanted to go back and see the dealer.
Ready for another one.
Not only do I think you're going to get vintage Aaron Donald, I think you're going to get defensive player of the year number 4, Aaron Donald. So 12-5, my official prediction for the Rams.
Boom. What you got, Mike? Take us on, man.
Yeah, so this is going to vary a little bit. I could easily see them going 12-5, but I have them going 11-6. And the reason that is, and this isn't hate, it's just like their secondary still has a few questions in my mind. Allen Robinson is a dog, and me and Super have talked about this offline. He's one of my favorite receivers. I just think he's been in terrible situations in his entire career. I think Justin Fields could have used him. I just think that Matt Nagy is the worst coach in the NFL. He's been the worst head coach since our old offensive coordinator that went to the Jets got fired. So I think since then he's been bad. He's been in some bad systems. But that's saying bad. That to say, the thing that them getting everybody's toughest shot, them playing a first place schedule. Like, listen, I'm not saying the Rams are talented. I'm just saying they're not gonna win all these games. They got the Packers, Chargers, Saints, Chiefs, Raiders, Bucks, Niners twice, Bills, and Broncos. That is. I don't think there's any way you can slice it that those teams are going to all be competitive teams. All those teams will most likely be above 500.
Yep.
So I think they're going to win games. I think they'll win a division. And I'm not saying they're going to go into – they could easily go into the NFC playoffs as a second or third seed and still win the Super Bowl. So it's not like hating on their chances in the postseason. It's just like same thing with the AFC West. There's just so much there's a lot of this going on. And I think it's going to take them a little bit to gel with some of the new pieces. And they still do have a few weaknesses in some key areas. So saying all that to say, I still think they're going to be the NFC West champs. I could easily see them going 13-4 and busting some of these teams' heads, depending on when they play them. But my prediction is more that 11-6. I think it'll be a last couple weeks, between them and the Niners to see who's going to win the division. I think the Niners are going to start off kind of slow and kind of go on a tear at the end. If they can stay healthy, the Rams, I hope, stay healthy. But I do think no matter what the record is, they'll win the division pretty much. I do see them doing that. I just say the regular season is going to be a dogfight for them because you're the Super Bowl champs. And you're playing a first place schedule. And you're playing a first place schedule against a bunch of dogs, right? Like the Saints are nothing to sneeze at. They're always a good defensive team. I think, quarterback wise, they'll get that figured out. I think Jameis isn't a bum. So I'm saying a lot of stuff to say, man. They got a solid schedule.
They beat Brady with Trevor Siemian last year, so I'm not sleeping on them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. So anyway, I think they'll be the NFC West champs. I think it's just going to be a little more competitive, like my brother Soup said. They're going to get everybody's best shot, and I think they'll be ready for it. I just think there's going to be a couple games where, while they're meshing, getting running backs back again, they're getting Cam Akers back. They're doing that. Getting them back into the flow of the offense might take a little bit of time, but I think they'll win the games the most when it counts, and I can guarantee nobody in the NFC West wants to play them in the playoffs, and that's really when it matters.
Yep.
Love it. Great takes, gentlemen. Well, folks, there you have it. Those are our NFC West season predictions. We got the Rams taking it home. 49ers will definitely test that chin, though. I got them, I think we said, 10, 11 wins roughly. And then, of course, hey, man, sorry to the rest of the teams, Sea-Turds and Cardinals.
Hey, Doug, I'd be remiss if I would go and make this prediction on another show and not do it on our show. So I'm going to do it right here. In addition to the Rams winning the NFC West, Mike, you can go ahead and shrug your shoulders, shake your head, or whatever.
It's not happening.
Super Bowl repeat. I can't wait to see Buffalo in Arizona in February, right before Valentine's Day. Send Von Miller home, sad that he made the wrong decisions. Your Super Bowl champions for the 2022-23 season, Los Angeles Rams.
Boom! There you have it. Hey, another episode for another day, but we're going to keep that one in the final edit right there. Super Bowl champs running things again. LA Rams doing the damn thing. Folks, go ahead and make sure you go down, subscribe. Hit the bell for alerts. Comment below. Let's debate. Let's talk.
Time to tune in. Now another sports center. It's a movement.